I know. Don't read me. This is supposed to be a weekly show, but it's becoming only twice a month, you know, a bi-weekly show. Sorry. Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another episode of Morning Tea, where we sit in our sleepwear and discuss current events. Today's tea is just a little bit left of the iced double spice chai black tea. I'm gonna be crunching on ice. I know some of you guys hate that, but you know. Alright guys, so I've got a lot to talk about. Let's jump on in. If you guys have any suggestions, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section. That's stuff you want me to talk about. I won't talk about everything, but I'll talk about some of the things. And let's get started. Alright, here's the tea. So first, let's talk about the Donald Glover Issa Rae thing. I know it's a little bit old, but kind of wanted to talk about it after it had already been talked about. Okay, so first of all, the controversy is that some hotep, I can only imagine it's a hotep, right? You know, some hotep went and actually read Issa's book 3 years later, and she in it had a joke about black women and Asian men needing to get together because they're for some reason at the bottom of the beauty totem pole within their respective genders. Some hotep got upset about it and came forward saying that Issa Rae was kind of promoting interracial relationships, telling black women to date outside the race, which, you know, black women find your happiness anywhere you can, you know what I'm saying? Then the argument on the other side was brought up is like, how come no one's saying anything about Donald Glover? These are two people who are young in the industry right now who are producing great television and great work for black people, about black people, and why is Issa Rae getting pooped on for this, but that same author did not do any research to see if there's any males who are doing the same thing. Apparently Donald Glover's partner is not black. I had no idea. I mean, you would think this person would be, but they're not, and who cares? There's a lot of controversy about that. I don't think either way about it. Interracial dating happens. As long as you're not dating outside of your race because you secretly hate yourself and are trying to dilute your bloodline in order to make your kids beautiful, then I don't care what you do with your life. Like, you meet and love whoever you meet and love, and whoever fulfills your soul, whoever's your soul person, like, let that person be your person. You know what I'm saying? Let people love who they love. Let people love who love them. You know what I'm saying? Who treats them exactly how they need to be treated. Here's the tea. So the next thing I want to talk about is all these people calling the police on black people. Personally, you guys know that I only call the police unless I feel like my life or a life of a loved one is being threatened. Otherwise, there's no reason to call the police. So you have several instances. You have the white lady who called the police on black people for having a barbecue and then like showed out when the police got there. Like that, her cry was like, she was, you know, she wanted to thank the Academy for giving her the opportunity. You know, that's how serious it was. And the cop was looking at her like, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to, ma'am, what's happening, ma'am? You know, that was funny. The next thing we had is this lady calling the police on a group of friends who were staying in an Airbnb in the Inland Empire in California. And it turns out that she said hi to them and they didn't wave back to her because they didn't know who she was, you know what I'm saying? And that woman decided that they were robbing the house. In broad daylight at 10:30 in the morning. And the police came and the police were a little like aggressive, like, what are you doing here? What's going on? Apparently the house was on Airbnb and that's how they stayed there. And then someone said that the house was not registered, but I'm like, wow, do you have to register with the city? Like does the police have a list of all the houses in the city that is an Airbnb? Like, you know, it was a whole kerfuffle. And it turns out that the people who were actually staying in the house were black people. And one of those black people was the grandchild of Bob Marley. So there's that drama that got blown up. And all those situations could have ended up poorly for the black people involved. And that's, I think, the thing that is concerning is that these people are calling the police on black people because they see them doing something suspicious without even thinking about the fact that the police very well may come there and kill them, right? Like, do we not know that that is true? Are those people not? Obviously, they're not getting the same information I'm getting. You know, we even had the situation where at two different colleges, or maybe even the same college, was it both at Yale, where two white students decided that they were going to call the police on sleeping black people or lost black people on campus. Like, you don't belong here. Why don't I belong here? Because I'm black? Like, what other reason would you assume that I don't belong here? Did you assume that about anybody else? Like, crazy. Luckily, the incidences came out where these people did not die, but they should not have happened at all because if these people were not black, the police would have never been called out. Don't they know? Like, call the police when you feel like your life is threatened. Don't be worrying about if somebody's house is getting robbed. If your house is getting robbed, call the police. If your house is not getting robbed, leave that shit alone. Mind your business. Mind your business. No, I get it. I mean, like, obviously, if you know your neighbors, right, and you have a good relationship with them, they would tell you that they have an Airbnb. But I don't know anybody in my neighborhood right now. I honestly couldn't tell you if someone I didn't know. I wave to everyone who comes out of my neighbor's house. I don't even know if they live there. I can't even tell you who exactly lives in the house next door. I can't tell you. They just people. So someone could be stealing from my neighbors, and I'd just be like, none of my business. We're not a part of the neighborhood watch. And now, if you know that Janie's out of town and people are staying in her house, you could just shoot Janie a phone call or a text message. Obviously, those neighbors aren't close to each other for her to be calling the police. You just being nosy, right? You just being nosy. Because if that was really your neighbor, then you would know what was going on. So otherwise, stay out of the mess. Don't be worrying about it. Here's the tea. Speaking of home invasions, Rihanna got her house broken into. And I'm like, if Rihanna ain't safe and she got all the money, what about me? That really concerns me. I mean, this person was obviously a stalker, somebody who had been watching the house, knew the patterns, but like he like laid up in the house for a minute. I was like waiting for her there to have a conversation. People are delusional. I get so worried sometimes on the internet when people are weird. Like sometimes I don't even block people who are being extra because I'm worried that they are then gonna get upset that I blocked them and then go ham and like doxy me. Like I'm so terrified of that. Like, girl, you don't ever know what can set somebody off at all. So speaking of Rihanna though, Rihanna is just coming out with it. Like I never stood for Rihanna as a musical artist, but I am so in support of Rihanna with the makeup and the lingerie line. I mean, she made no excuses. She made size 0 to size 20 and I'm just like here for it. I mean, I don't know if it's size 20. I'm just saying she went into the plus sizes and it's like, thank you Rihanna for thinking of all women. Thank you Rihanna for thinking of all women of all shades with her makeup line. I mean and the line is not that expensive. Like I feel like it's comparable to Victoria's Secret. Now Victoria's Secret is too much money. I mean, if you're going into buying a celebrity's lingerie line, you need to expect to spend some kind of money, but you're not spending as much money as you might think, or at least I thought it was going to be. So I might have to cop me something. I mean, I don't have any reason for lingerie. And people are like, wear lingerie for yourself. I'm like, oh, I mean, yes, I do. But like, can I wear it for someone too? Dang. So congrats to Riri on that. And I really hope her success with Fenty Beauty and Savage Fenty and anything Fenty, really. Like, go on, girl. Here's the tea. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is a lot of YouTubers and people on Instagram are coming out with like making excuses or at least like talking about the fact that they have ads. I don't understand why people are so mad at YouTubers or Instagram people for having ads or promoting brands on their channel. That just means that the people are making money. Like, let people make their money. Like, don't discredit them or make them feel like they shouldn't be, that they're like fake or a cop-out or aren't being honest. Like, some people aren't being honest, but some people are. To me, it's the same thing as Jennifer Aniston doing an Aveeno commercial. Like, people do ads all the time, but for whatever reason, it's okay if you do an ad on television and you get paid for it and you don't actually use the product. But it's not okay if you do it on YouTube or you do it on Instagram. Now, I get it. YouTube is supposed to be a little bit more natural, a little bit more homegrown, a little bit more of the real deal. But like, you start to know who those people are if you're really a subscriber of them. Like, if you're down, you're down. If you're not down, then don't pretend to be down and then go on there and troll and be negative. Like, let people make their money. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. That doesn't necessarily mean that Jennifer Aniston uses Aveeno. Like, she might not use it at all. She might not use any of the products. Like, but she's selling it and she's getting paid to sell it. So why not be the face of Aveeno? Here's the tea. So the next thing is the royal wedding. Now, I never paid any attention to the royal wedding, and let me tell you why. And this is, I think, a fault of my own, like a blind spot for me and something I really need to work on because I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. When I found out that Meghan Markle considered herself biracial, I stopped thinking of her as being a black woman and then therefore stopped caring about the entire thing. Now, when she showed up with her black mama, I was like, oh, I forgot she's black. There's something about someone saying that they're biracial as opposed to a mixed black person. And I know it's just semantics and I know it's not my life and I shouldn't care and like, you know, who am I to take, I'm not taking anyone's blackness. I feel like the person has taken away their blackness. They have said to me, I'm other than black. Even though I was raised by my black ass mama, I don't feel black, or I don't have the black experience, or, you know, whatever. Like, Meghan Markle is an actress, so, I mean, pre the racial ambiguity age of television, she would have been considered, like Paula Patton, like Halle Berry, a black woman. And I think that her and Paula Patton are in that same space. Like, you know, they're not the Rashida Joneses where you're just like, girl, you're black, but they're not the Halle Berrys where it's like, oh yeah, she's black. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I hear someone say that they're biracial as opposed to a mixed black person, I'm like, oh, you don't want to be considered black, is what I think. Henry nor the other one married me. Is that even a Harry? Nor the other one married me, so I don't care. But I did see snippets of it because my mother was watching it, and I thought that that choir was like magistry. They were magnificent. I loved it. I loved the hats. I loved that Oprah was there. I loved that Serena was there. I thought that it was beautiful. I thought Meghan looked great. I love that her mom was the front and center, and we got to see her mom with her natural hair. You know, it was just really great. I just checked out because I thought, because of what Meghan had said or what someone told me. I don't even know what Meghan considers herself, and it doesn't even really matter. I just checked out. But I think it was beautiful, and I think that a lot of people were excited about it. But what I'm saying is, like, congratulations to the couple. Like, I really don't care. You're not giving me any money. I'm just saying that I just wanted to talk about the fact that I had checked out from her because of that. And I was thinking about it because I felt dumb that I felt that way. Because I'm never somebody to take away someone's blackness, but I do think that when I feel like you're rejecting your blackness, not to say that Meghan is, but when I feel that, I'm like, oh, I don't care about you anymore. Not anything negative, not anything bad. I'm just like, okay. Here's the tea. I don't know if I talked about this. No, I did talk about this. So I remember last time I talked about the UF students who were dancing on stage and the professor came and moved them out of the way. Another incident of that happened, but it was a black woman who came out and she began to twerk, and a professor moved her out of the way. And as much as I know that those scenarios are the same, the respectability politics in me rears up and says, black woman, do not shake your ass on stage. Like, unless you are an entertainer, you need not shake your ass on stage. If you are not getting paid to twerk on stage, you need not twerk on stage. If you are not getting paid to twerk on camera, you should not twerk on camera because it discredits you. And that is what I think, and I feel dumb for thinking that. Another thing that I feel dumb for thinking, because I feel like it's an absolute double standard. I want to support this black woman who is graduating from college. I want to support her choice and her right. And I think that it's the patriarchy and the misogyny in this world that has gotten me thinking less of her, and the respectability politics that has got me thinking less of her, thinking like, oh my God, black people, like, what are we doing? Why are we twerking on stage? Like, one day at work, I was in the back room a couple years ago in New York City, and I was like twerking for my coworkers. I was like, oh, I know how to twerk, and I twerked, right? My coworker was like, oh my God, I can't do that. And mind you, all of my coworkers are people of color, right? So it's not like I'm in mixed company, right? So I'm twerking, and we're all like dancing and having a good time, and we get on the sales floor, and on the sales floor is nothing but non-people of color, right? You know, customers. And I hear one of my coworkers from across the way be like, "Wah! You didn't show James that you know how to twerk." And I was so mad at her. I mean, I probably didn't talk to her for a solid week. And I was like, how dare you? No. Like, I clutched my pearls and got indignant with my fellow black woman. And I looked at her like, twerking? Ma'am, I don't twerk. That's just how I feel about it. Like, I don't feel like black women should degrade themselves by twerking on camera unless you're getting paid for it. And it even sounds more degrading if people, there's some people who might be like, oh, well, it's even more degrading if you're getting paid. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the opposite for me. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking. So what do you guys think? Is it a double standard? It is a double standard, right? I'm judging the girl for twerking, but I'm not judging the guy. I mean, he wasn't twerking, but he was still dancing. And why should I stop her thunder? As a woman, as a black woman, I should support other black women and their right to do whatever. And just because she's being seen as sexual, that is something that the patriarchy has trained us to believe that we shouldn't be, especially black women. Because once we are deemed sexual or seen as a sexual being, our value gets diminished. And that's not fair. It's not. And I fed into that, and I'm feeding into that, and I'm trying to get over it, but I'm still just like, ooh, girl. I don't even, was it an HBCU? Then maybe it was less of eyes on it, but you know, I can't be doing stuff in mixed company. In mixed company, I'm like, here's the tea. So something that is sad, there is a flood happening in Elliott County in Maryland. It's about 30 minutes outside of Baltimore. Apparently a river overflowed, and this entire, I mean, the footage of this are these like cars slamming into each other as this river just overflows, and it's just so upsetting. And I'm just like, oh my god, people's lives and everything are just underwater, and the insurance companies ain't shit, because they'll be like, oh, a natural catastrophe happened to you, guess what, you don't have flood insurance though. And I think that is just so disgusting with our insurance companies. Like, I feel like fire, flood, and earthquake should be all in one bundle. Like, I don't care where you are in the world, like that should be under one bundle, and you should pay one thing, and if any of those things happen, you should be taken care of. Especially if it's like a natural disaster, something that like Mother Nature just happens to happen to you. Like, you. So I really do hope the best for those people, and I hope that they are able to get their lives back together. I know it's going to be a minute, but you know, here's the tea. So the last thing I want to talk about today is this man, this guy who's from Mali, who is living in France, and there was a situation where there was a 4-year-old hanging from a balcony, and he climbed up 4 stories on the outside of this building to save the 4-year-old. There was somebody else who was up there as well, but he didn't have a good grasp on the 4-year-old because he was in the apartment next to, and there's like a partition in the center, so he couldn't get over there. But it turns out that due to this getting so much press, that the president of France has decided to extend citizenship to this hero, and says that the fire department would be willing to take him in and, like, you know, put him through the training for it. So like, I thought that was really great. I mean, obviously he still has to go through the citizenship process, but with the backing of the president, I mean, it could probably happen faster than it would for anybody else, and that's like a really great recommendation. So I'm really excited for this guy. I don't know his name, but if I do, I will put it on the screen so you guys can see that. But yeah, check that video out. That's, I mean, like, the way he scaled it, it was like Spider-Man, yo. Like, everyone's making comments about how Marvel needed to call him and he's actually the Black Panther and all this stuff, but like, kudos to this dude for like climbing this building and saving that baby. Like, great job, bro. And I'm really happy that the repercussions, that France acknowledged him and is offering him citizenship and a job. Like, that's wonderful. Heroes need to be acknowledged and supported, and I support that. All right, you guys, so that is the end of morning tea. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns in the comment section. Links to everything I talked about will be down below. And yeah, that's it. Sorry about this. I'm gonna try to be more consistent. There's a lot going on, but I'm definitely gonna try to be more consistent. Sorry. All right, you guys, so remember to like and subscribe. I never say that, but I'm gonna say it now because I'm starting to realize that I have a lot of people who watch but who don't subscribe. So we got to get that number to be balanced so that YouTube takes me seriously and will promote my channel. So if you can like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I post videos, and you know what I'm saying? Like, let's build this channel. 2018, build this channel. I promise to do my part by actually uploading videos, and you gotta like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You know what I'm saying? All right, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.